You're thinking about selling your home. You feel overwhelmed and you don't know where to begin or what to prioritize. That's where I come in. Let's start with why you're probably here: price. Now, you don't want to give your house away, and fair enough, but here's the truth. Even the best realtor in the world doesn't have a magical wand to give you any price for your home. What we can do is help you get the maximum value that tomorrow's market is willing to bear. Now, that happens through two main processes: preparing your home and marketing it effectively. Now, great marketing without proper preparation is akin to putting lipstick on a pig. Now, some sellers don't have the time or money to get their house ready, and I've helped people in that position, and while it is possible, it is far from ideal. And if you can avoid it, you do not want to be in that position. Now, maybe your house is already picture perfect and we can take photos tomorrow, but more often than not, there are a few things to get in order first. And the more you can think ahead, the better. So this course will focus on preparing your home for sale. I'll take you through each element of your house and show you how to see it through the buyer's eyes so you can maximize its appeal in every category. And at the end, I'll help you create a clear game plan, deciding what to prioritize based upon your timeline and budget. We'll systematically go through each part of your property, separating the must-dos from the nice-to-haves. And if you want to go deeper, I'll give you optional homework to reinforce what we've learned. Now, before diving into tactics, we need a strong foundation, what I call the philosophy of selling. This shapes everything that follows. Now, selling your house is one of the most emotionally charged things you'll ever do. You raised a family there, you've made memories, and it feels a part of your identity. But if your goal is to maximize value, and for most it is, you'll need to do something difficult. Check your ego at the door. If not, you risk leaving serious money on the table. Now, here's a life cycle of a typical home. The building you live in started off as a house. Built by a developer, it's a commodity, stripped of emotion, judged solely by specs. Sure, there are emotional components like vaulted ceilings or granite countertops, but those are just features. But then you move in, you personalize it and fill it with emotion and memories. But when you sell, the emotional meaning does not transfer. Buyers bring in their own emotion, and they compare specs, condition, and market position. And when selling, it's crucial to strip away personal attachment and reframe it from a home back into a house. Now, this mental shift is essential for strategic selling. Now, once listed, your house becomes a commodity, one among many. Now, right now, depending on where you live, there are significantly more active sellers than buyers in the States, shifting power towards buyers and top sellers. This means your house could be in a fierce competition with other sellers and for buyers. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking about selling. Congratulations, you've already started the process of demoting your home back into a house. The great news is you're on the right path, and I'm here to help you complete that process. Remember, your goal is to maximize profits, and profits itself don't care about you. And to capture it, you must do what's best for the market, which means you must divorce your emotion from your house. Now, this is where another important distinction comes in: sellable versus desirable. Now, sellable means your house meets the baseline. It's safe, functional, and free of deal-killing issues. A house in sellable condition can go on the market and sometimes attract offers. Now, desirable goes further. It's the paint colors, staging, curb appeal, and lifestyle touches that make buyers compete for it. Desirable is what pushes price higher and creates urgency. Think of sellable as a foundation. Without it, your house might sit unsold, or the sale price might be well below what you're expecting. Desirable is what sets it above the rest. Smart sellers understand the difference and know what they're aiming for. Of course, it always comes down to your goals. Are you simply trying to bring your house up to sellable condition, or do you want it to truly pop in the market? That decision shapes how you'll approach prep, budgets, and timelines. And in this course, I'm gonna help you do both. This isn't about chasing random fixes, it's about prioritization. Now, in the first half of this course, I'm gonna help you step back and see each facet of your property through the right lens. Then, since budgets are limited and timelines are finite, I'm gonna help you decide what to prioritize based upon your budget and how much time you have before you hit the market. Now, to make that easier, I'm going to introduce you to several free resources that you can use to help create a clear, personalized game plan. Now, the following are the core issues that can and should be addressed in your home, in a sale of your home, and also the chapters of this course: the curb appeal, the stuff inside, the surfaces inside, the mechanical and structural systems, and the health factor. And after that, we'll talk about timelines and what to prioritize and staging. Of course, this isn't a complete list, but it is a comprehensive one. And I'm going to walk you through how to address each one strategically. Now, before we dig into these components, here's your first assignment. This weekend, go to an open house, preferably in the neighborhood where you plan on selling. Now, right now, you're thinking as a seller, seller. But to do this right, you need to think like a buyer. You're a secret agent gathering intel on your future customer, the buyer. Now, if you're also buying in another neighborhood, resist the urge to view through that lens. Focus on the type of buyer for your current neighborhood. Here's how to approach it. A potential buyer might spend 20 to 40 minutes ruthlessly judging a home. Now, when you arrive, start a stopwatch. Here's what the timeline might look like. The first 5 minutes, standing in the front yard, taking in the landscaping, exterior paint, and curb appeal. The next 10 minutes, entering through the front door and surveying the first few rooms. And the next 10 minutes, exploring the rest of the home and the backyard. Last 5 minutes, camping out in the room that had the most impact to them. Now, pay attention to what you noticed first. How did the condition of the front yard shape your impressions of the rest of the house? At a busy open house, observe the other parties walking through. What are they prioritizing? And if you're lucky, they might even say it out loud in passing. Now, when you leave, sit in your car and jot down your impressions immediately. Now, don't spend more than 5 minutes on this. You're just capturing your gut reaction. Now, go to more than one open house. One gives you an experience, whereas several gives you a baseline. That's how you'll start gathering data to inform better decisions for your own home. Now, it might feel overwhelming to compare your home to others, but hang in there. This exercise alone is already helping you make smarter, more impactful decisions. Now, up next, we'll dive into curb appeal and first impressions. As they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And if you follow the homework assignment from the last video, how did the first impression shape your opinion of the rest of the house? Think about it. If somebody neglected their front lawn, what does that suggest about how they maintain the rest of the house? The human brain makes up about 20% of our body weight, yet it consumes roughly 20% of our daily energy. To conserve that energy, it's always looking for shortcuts, and one of those shortcuts is making generalizations. If a seller takes good care of the front yard, buyers naturally assume the inside is well cared for as well. In that sense, you're innocent until proven guilty. On the flip side, if the front yard looks neglected, buyers won't even stick around to admire your granite countertops. I've seen it all the time at open houses. People pull up, glance at the house, and drive away without ever walking up the steps. Landscaping. Now, most realtors will tell you to plant flowers in the spring and showcase blossoming trees, and that's fine, but here's the real key. Landscaping should look clean and maintained. Maintained grass and fresh mulch alone can show better than overgrown shrubs. A tidy, simple yard always beats cluttered or chaotic plantings. At minimum, mow weekly and spread fresh mulch. And if you want to plant flowers, go for it. But in my opinion, less is more. Remember, buyers are purchasing the neighborhood first, the property second, and the house third. Landscaping should highlight the property. Remember, it's not the star of the show. Builders know this. After they build a house, they throw down some sod, a few shrubs, and mulch and call it a day. They're on to something. Do the same. Sellers must prep for the lens. Here's what most sellers forget. Buyers don't see your house first in person, they see it through a camera lens first. Photos exaggerate both clutter and color. Paint color that feels fine in person may look garish online. A room that feels cozy to you might look cramped in photos. Sellers should prep not just for the showing, but for the lens. Clean lines, neutral tones, and simplified landscaping always photograph better and help your house shine where first impressions actually matter first on a phone screen. Now, soft washing the exterior can also make a huge difference. In some cases, a full paint job is necessary, but often just removing dirt and grime from the siding and debris from the roof brings your house back to life. And if you do it yourself, be careful. You can damage materials if done wrong. If in doubt, hire a pro. Here's another thing that you'll hear often. Don't major in minor things. Some owners believe that replacing the front door will transform their curb appeal. Now, realtors I respect even recommend it, but in reality, replacing the locks and painting your existing door gets you about 80% of the impact at a fraction of the cost. Want some inexpensive upgrades? Swap in new light fixtures, replace the house numbers, but only if it fits in the style of your home. Remember, the goal is neat, clean, and consistent. Ask a friend for a second opinion before you overdo it. Pro tip, take a photo of your home from the street and look at it on your phone. Remember, most buyers' impressions will be on a screen. What jumps out at that size? The paint or the clutter that you thought no one would notice? Should I paint my house? Well, yes, if your paint is in poor condition or the color is overly niche. Think bright orange, purple, etc. If the paint is in good shape and it fits the neighborhood, a soft wash and touch-ups are often enough. But keep in mind, siding color covers a huge percentage of what the buyers see, so if you're on the fence, repainting it may be worth it. 6 months out, plant shrubs or grass that needs time to grow. 3 months out, book exterior painting or power washing appointment. And 2 weeks out, refresh mulch, trim hedges, mow, and add flowers. And by the way, the same goes for the backyard. Next up, let's go inside. When you walk through the front door, you're really seeing two categories: the building itself, the walls, the floors, the layout, and the stuff inside of it: the furniture, the decor, the personal belongings. Now we'll talk about the building later, but for now let's focus on the stuff because it can make or break a buyer's impression. Now let's do a quick thought experiment. House number 1 is your home, the possessions you've accumulated over the years. House number 2, now think about a great vacation rental you stayed in. What's the difference? Pause this video for 90 seconds and on a legal pad or on your notes app, just jot down what comes to mind. Now most people land on the same two answers: minimal furniture and light, clean paint colors. That's no accident. Great stagers and vacation rental property hosts know that when people see a space online, they should feel calm, like their shoulders can finally drop and they can begin to relax. That's exactly how you want buyers to feel when they walk into your home. But you've lived in your house for more than a few years, and chances are you've accumulated a lot of things. We all do. The problem is buyers don't want to see your life, they want to imagine theirs. So here's a tough question. Do you want to squeeze the most value out of your house? And if the answer is yes, here's the truth. You probably need to reduce your personal possessions by about 2/3. Now, when it comes time to sell, you've got 3 main paths. You can sell with your own furniture, but unless it's minimal, stylish, and in great shape, that usually works against you. Now you can sell the house empty, and it's better than clutter, but rooms often feel cold or even smaller without furniture. Or you can hire a professional stager, and this is the gold standard, especially when you're in a market that is softer for sellers, and that's what consistently helps homes sell for top dollar. The bottom line, unless you're one of the rare few who already live minimally with showroom furniture, scaling back or bringing in a pro is the best move. You don't need to throw everything away, but you need to clear space. Rent a storage unit if you have to. Start looking at Airbnbs online and compare the furniture to square footage ratio for your home. That's your benchmark. Pro tip, here's a quick trick if you don't know where to start. Go room by room and cut what's on every shelf, every surface, and every wall by about 50%. That single step instantly makes the space feel bigger, calmer, and more inviting, both in person and in photos. We'll talk about staging more in detail in a separate video, but first let's move on to something that ties directly into how buyers see your space: paint. Again, pull up your favorite vacation rental photos. What color is the majority of the walls? Spoiler alert, just about everything is white. You should strongly consider painting everything white. I see this coming up with sellers all the time. They choose an accent wall to express part of their personality, and they take it as a personal affront that I suggest that they paint it. Remember, potential buyers who go through your house are ruthlessly and silently going to judge you. And remember, they're the only ones who are writing the check. But white is boring. Yes, exactly. You want your house to be a blank canvas. When people see your house, you want them imagining what they can do with the space, not that they're jiving with your favorite color. Plain and simple, white conveys cleanness and makes your rooms appear bigger. Now, if you chose an exotic color, 10% of buyers will like your paint, and the other 90%, well, I guarantee you they'll be thinking in the back of their head, they're factoring in the headache of having to paint the walls when they buy the house. Spare them the trouble. Also, if you have pets and kids and you've lived in the house, the walls have gotten a little grimy. Later, I'll give you a breakdown on the high return on investment tasks, but your walls show a lot of wear and paint makes them shine. Paint is $50 in the can, but $1,000 on the wall. Remember, buyers see photos before they see the home. Neutral paint, clean lines, and uncluttered rooms show better on camera. Now, if the carpet is in rough shape or if you have pets, consider replacing the carpet. If the floors are worn down, get them fixed. Again, if something like flooring that takes up a lot of space in their eyes, they're going to be thinking about it. And if your house smells, fix it. Now, a lot of these nitty-gritty things can scare away nervous buyers. So have you ever gotten back from vacation and stepped into your house and the house smelled off? It's called nose blindness, and it is real. We become desensitized to our own home. When buyers walk into your home, they will smell that. We have a saying in real estate, when it smells, it won't sell. So here's a great homework assignment for you. Ask a trusted friend who hasn't stepped in your house in a while to smell every room and give an honest opinion. Beware, please don't just mask the smell with scents. Buyers are not dumb. When I walk through a house with buyers, we always assume if we smell heavy scents that there's a cover-up going on. If you have carpet, you may not know that most carpet warranties require you to deep clean the carpet every year to keep your warranty. And if you have well-behaved pets, then get the carpets clean. But if the carpet has been destroyed, then get it replaced. And if your smell is bad, consider replacing the padding underneath it. Ozone machines work wonders at knocking down scents, but please fix the source of the smell first. Smokers, now I hate to have something better for you, but I do not. You have your work cut out for you. You will more likely than not have to deep clean every surface, including painting just about every surface. Here are some timelines to think about. At about 6 months to go, think about hiring painters, refinishing floors. Now keep in mind, good contractors are booked out, so that you don't want to wait too long for bigger projects. And at 1 month ago, you should swap out bulbs, fixtures, tighten knobs, replace housing numbers. Here's your next homework assignment. Ask a friend to walk through every room in your home. Ask them to be brutally honest with them. Make it a game. Then you want to film them and capture their entire experience. Again, buyers are going to silently and ruthlessly judge you. You might as well find out now. Now let's talk about structural and mechanical issues in the house. In a softer market for sellers, every flaw of your home gets magnified. What buyers might overlook in a hot market becomes a deal breaker when they have more options. It may not be what you want to hear, but if you want your house to sell or get the best value, you can't afford to ignore this part. Up until now, we focus on the parts of your house that catch the eye, the paint colors, the landscaping, and the staging. And that's been time well spent because those details shape the first impressions buyers get. But if you stop at appearances, you miss the bigger picture. Buyers don't just want a home that looks good, they want one that holds up. Here's how their focus changes. In the beginning of the purchase process, buyers are looking at the house from a high level. The nicer, the cleaner, and the more move-in ready your house looks, the more offers you get. But as you move deeper down the rabbit hole, the pretty things take a back seat and the bones become critical. Inspections, appraisals, and insurance reports put every major system under a microscope. And at that stage, it's no longer about fresh paint or carpet, it's about whether the house is a good value. This is where sellers get caught off guard. They pour their money into upgrades that shine, like kitchens and decks and new flooring, but ignore what I call defensive ROI. These are the unglamorous systems: the roof, the furnace, the plumbing, the electrical. A new furnace rarely wows a buyer, but an old one might terrify them. A solid roof blends into the background, but a failing roof becomes a negotiating weapon to the buyer, or a reason for the appraiser to cut your value, or even a deal killer for insurance. And by the way, if a home buyer can't get insurance, they can't get a mortgage, and thus can't buy your house. And that ties directly into retail versus wholesale condition. You want your house to sell at retail price or wholesale price. Retail condition means your major systems are in good working order, which keeps you in the broadest buyer pool, including the 80% who need financing and insurance. Wholesale condition means some systems are past their lifespan, which pushes you into a smaller pool of cash buyers and investors who are hoping to buy your house at a deep discount. Because while cosmetic upgrades help you attract buyers, it's the big systems that decide whether you sell for full retail or watch your house get priced down into wholesale territory. Here are some average benchmarks sellers should know. I have a link in the description with a guide for all of this there. Now let's talk about timelines. At 6 months out, if you're unsure of the state of your major components, bring in a contractor in that field to evaluate the condition. It's always a good idea to get multiple bids unless the contractor you're getting a bid from has a killer reputation. 3 months out, schedule contractors for roof, HVAC. Remember, good contractors are booked out. And 1 month out, gather service logs, warranties, and receipts. These will help reassure nervous buyers. Remember, it's not always about the buyer, it's the buyer's lender or insurance that can kill deals if they aren't addressed. The next thing to consider when selling your house is health and safety. Think of the buyer's process like a road with gates on it. They start on their phones looking at photos, and if you pass that gate, they visit in person to experience the aesthetics. If you pass that, they verify the home is in good working order. And finally comes the peace of mind stage, health and safety. The last step is just as important as the others. Many deals fall apart over health concerns. After all, buyers are imagining their loved ones living in your home, sleeping, eating, and raising kids. That's a vulnerable state. No wonder people are cautious. Now here's my approach. When a buyer hires a home inspector, their job is to call out every possible issue. They might even make them question their decision to buy, but that's the point. they're being thorough. Now, today buyers across the board are more conscious and health conscious than ever. And as Roosevelt said, the comparison of thief is joy, but in this case, comparison actually helps. If every house on the block has lead paint, then yours probably does too. You don't necessarily need to remove it, but you should follow best practices, make sure it's sealed and painted over. This also ties into the proactive versus reactive debate. Should you fix problems before listing or wait for the buyer's inspector to call them out? Now, I cover this in another video, but my short answer is this. If you know there's a problem, address it. If you're unsure, comment down below. I do my best to answer as many questions as I can. Common health hazards to look out for. Mold. Now, mold is a big deal. Spores are in the air, but some people act like even a trace means the house should be burned down. That's not true. If you live in a wet or humid climate, even building supplies can arrive at the job site before installation with mold stains already on it. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's a problem. The real issue here is moisture. Many homes built 20 plus years ago had bathroom fans venting in the attic instead of outside, basically pumping humid air where it doesn't belong. The fix? Redirect the vent outside, remediate the mold, and move on. Radon. Now, radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that seeps in the home from the soils. It's invisible and odorless, but long-term exposure is the second leading cause of lung cancer in the US after smoking. Here's one to worry. If your neighborhood has high radon levels and if you live in a habitable space directly above concrete, like a basement. Less of a concern if you have a ventilated crawl space. Ironically, older draftier homes are less affected because air movement disperses the radon. Here's how to do it right. Testing is simple and cheap, often a $50 for a DIY kit you can get your local home store. Professional mitigation systems typically cost $1,000 to $2,500. Asbestos and lead. Now, if your home was built before 1976, chances are high that it contains asbestos or lead. And the good news, again, if they're undisturbed, they usually don't pose a problem. The bad news, if you renovate, they can. The rule of thumb is don't panic, but don't ignore. If you disturb materials that contain asbestos or lead, remediate it properly. Pests. Now, rodents, termites, and insects aren't just gross, they can cause structural damage and raise serious health concerns. Don't just remove evidence like droppings, nests, or traps. Seal entry points like cracks, gaps around pipes, and attic vents. You can schedule routine pest inspections to reassure buyers. Bottom line, health and safety issues may feel like a nuisance, but they could be deal killers if ignored. Buyers today want peace of mind. If you can provide that through proactive testing, simple fixes, and honest disclosures, you have the best chance of protecting your asking price and keeping your deal on track. Now that we have a framework for looking at your house, let's go into return on investment, or ROI, and timelines. And in the last video, I talked about defensive and offensive ROI. And in this video, we're going to talk about the value of each renovation change. You want to spend your money efficiently. So many sellers do this. They haphazardly spend money on things they think that will move the needle without data. If they'd spent just a little bit of time taking a step back, their money would be much better spent. Here's something that might sound crazy. Not every renovation turns a profit. Just because you pour money into a house doesn't mean you'll get it back. For example, you could spend $20,000 and only see a property value increase by half of that. As a general rule, major renovations often only return 40 to 60% of their costs when you sell. A kitchen overhaul might run $70,000, $80,000, but typically only adds $35,000 to $40,000 in resale value. Upscale remodels can return even less. On the flip side, smaller updates like painting, swapping out hardware, or resurfacing cabinets can return 70 to 90% or more. Now, when you're selling, the goal isn't renovation, it's restoration. Bring the house up to a nice standard, but don't assume that dropping $80,000 on a brand new kitchen is the smart move right before you list. Here's an example. A couple bought a 3-bedroom house. Since they didn't need the 3rd bedroom, they combined 2 bedrooms into 1. Later, when they had to sell, they didn't have the time or money to convert it back. That missing bedroom cost them real money at resale. If every house on the block has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and yours only has 1 bathroom, then adding that bath might add a lot of value to your house. But don't think that if 2 houses on your block have a pool, adding one is going to put money in your back pocket when you sell. Probably not. The takeaway: do renovations to restore your home, not to reinvent it. For most sellers, the focus should be on high ROI improvements. Save the fun renovations for your next home when you'll actually enjoy them. Let's talk about categories of return on investment. Now, you can download the full guide in the description, but here's the breakdown. High return, low expense, think painting or decluttering. Small costs, big impact. Low return, high expenses, think full kitchen or bathroom remodel. Expensive and rarely recouped. These two categories alone explain why some sellers walk away with more and others leave money on the table. ROI is not one size fits all. It depends heavily on timing and condition. Take your roof. If it's completely shot, replacing it has a positive ROI because it protects your full retail value and keeps the deal alive. But if your roof still has 10 years left, replacing it early won't raise your value. It just burns cash you won't get back. In that case, the ROI is essentially zero. Another example is carpet. If it's stained or worn, then new carpet can be a solid return because buyers don't want to deal with it. But if your flooring is already in good shape, replacing it right before selling almost adds nothing. The lesson here is this: some projects add value, others defend it, and knowing the difference matters. Let's talk about your action steps. After watching all the videos in this course, walk through your entire house and note what should be fixed. Print off the guide in this video description, and next to each item, go through each item and rate your house a 0 to 10. A 0 means your house is already sufficient for this item and addressing it doesn't apply, and a 10 means this 100% applies to you on your house. Now let's talk about timelines. 6 months out, if you have 6 months before you have to sell, this is a sweet spot. This is where you can tackle bigger prep projects, repairs, upgrades, and improvements that truly can move the needle. You have time to schedule contractors, shop around for materials, and do it right without rushing. Think of this stage as laying the foundation for maximum ROI. Example, major systems like the roof, HVAC, foundation, decluttering, interior paint, landscaping projects that need a full growing season. At the 3-month mark, you still have decent runway, but the clock is ticking. Now the focus is on the bigger return on investment improvements. Forget about starting any major remodels you won't finish on time. Instead, knock out medium scale projects that polish the home and make it shine for showings. Example, flooring updates, deep cleaning, soft washing, the exterior, small repairs, and finalizing the staging plan. Pro tip, prioritize projects buyers can see, not just the hidden ones. Visible upgrades sell faster. 1 month out. 1 month before listing, you are in sprint mode. This is not the time for big projects, it's about quick fixes. Focus on polishing your home so it's photo ready and ready to impress at showings. Paint touch-ups, curb appeal touch-ups, and prepping your home for professional photos and marketing. 1 week before photos is crunch time. At this point, you're not just fixing, you're perfecting. By now, I hope you can see that maximizing value isn't about random fixes. It's about following a system that matches your time, budget, and condition. If you do this right, you won't just be selling a house, you'll be selling a property positioned to compete and win in the market. A house that looks random sells for random results. A house that's strategic sells for maximum value. Why staging matters. Think back to that Airbnb analogy we talked about earlier in this series. Your stuff is the noise and staging is the music. Anyone can fill a room with furniture, but staging arranges it so that buyers feel calm, spacious, and at ease. Staging isn't about tricking people, it's about showing them how the house could live. Done right, staging doesn't just help your home look better in photos, it changes how buyers feel when they walk through the door. That emotional connection is where offers get stronger. Not every seller need or can afford the same level of staging. Think of it in 4 tiers. First, there's DIY staging, using your own stuff. You declutter, you rearrange, and style what you already have. Best for sellers with time and some design sense. Cost is low, but results depends heavily on your furniture quality and taste. Next option is partial staging. A stager uses a mix of your furniture and their pieces. Common in occupied homes when you have a few strong items but need help filling the gaps or modernizing. Now your third option is professional staging. The house is emptied and refinished top to bottom by a stager. This is the gold standard for making a home desirable, especially in competitive markets or with higher end properties. Often you can just stage a few rooms or you can stage the whole house depending on your budget. And lastly is virtual staging. Digital furniture is added in the listing photos. It's inexpensive and works great for online impressions, but remember, buyers will still see the empty rooms in person. Use it as a supplement, not as a replacement. Lighting as staging. Now here's a detail that most sellers overlook. Lighting is staging. The right light makes every photo and every showing feel brighter and warmer. You want to stick to neutral white around 3000 to 3500 Kelvin. Avoid the harsher blue light or dim yellow bulbs. Lamps or overheads. Overhead light can feel sterile sterile. You can add lamps to soften corners and add warmth. Consistency. Make sure all fixtures in a room match color temperature. Mixed lighting is distracting. Think of lighting as the invisible layer of staging. Buyers might not comment on it directly, but they feel it. Now, staging consistently ranks as one of the highest ROA improvements when selling. Homes that are staged typically sell faster and for more money because they stand out both online and in person. Remember, buyers don't just purchase a home, they purchase the vision of lifestyle. Staging is what creates that vision. Pro tip, if you can't stage every room, stage the rooms that matter most. The living room, the kitchen, the primary bedroom. These are the spaces where buyers spend the most emotional time. Now, if you plan staging your own home, here's the mindset shift that makes all the difference. Who are you staging the house for? Staging isn't about what you like, it's about what your most likely buyer needs to see. For families, staging should emphasize storage, space, and safety. Think clear pathways, toy-friendly corners, and closets that look roomy and organized. A family walking through wants to imagine morning routines, school backpacks by the door, and enough storage so that life doesn't feel cramped. For millennials, the emphasis is often on flexibility and tech readiness. Show off rooms that can double as home offices or gyms and make smart home features visible. Clean lines, uncluttered layouts, and multi-purpose spaces speak to their needs for both lifestyle and adaptability. Now, for boomers, lean into low maintenance and comfort. Highlight easy care finishes, main level living, and spaces that feel serene. Staging here is about reassurance. You want them thinking this home won't create more work for you. A simplified, relaxed aesthetic helps them feel like the house supports their lifestyle instead of complicating it. The bottom line is staging works best when it isn't one size fits all. Tailor it to the buyer pool that you're most likely to attract, and you'll transform staging from decorating into a targeted marketing strategy.